Hi lovelies, my name is Jessica and welcome to makeup.misfit. So this video is kind of spur of the moment. I got my two, not quite final, but final for now purchases that I have been waiting for. One was from Give Me Glow and the other was from Sugar Drizzle. So I'm going to show you guys what I purchased, just a little haul video here. I am going to start off with Give Me Glow and I'll kind of explain why. So I was filming a few other videos today which have been up already. The first set of videos I filmed part 1 and 2 of this if you could only keep one, or if you had to declutter one of your eyeshadow palettes from each brand that you have. So basically I went through my collection and I found the brands that had more than just one eyeshadow palette from, and I chose which one I would keep if I had to and which one I would declutter if I had to. That sparked me to go through the rest of the palettes that I only have one of from each brand and just let you guys know if I would repurchase or if I would purchase another palette from that brand based off of that eyeshadow palette. So the last palette that I talked about in that video was my Give Me Glow Pastel Dreams palette. Now, technically, I had already purchased eyeshadow palettes after I had purchased that palette. Also singles, but I did not have the eyeshadow palettes in my collection yet. They are here now. So I did just film those this morning. So they are finally here. They arrived after I had filmed those videos. So I do just want to start this video off by going through the Give Me Glow palettes that I did purchase. So first and foremost, I'm going to start off with the Summer Vibes palette, if I don't drop it. So in my YouTuber watch tag video, I had said that Alex, or Alessandra Lisette, was the one YouTuber that could make me buy anything. And really the reason why I threw her in that prompt was because I saw her have this palette, and when I saw her use it and whatnot, I fell in love with this palette and I really wanted it. So this is what the palette looks like if I can open it. And I think it's really pretty. Now, it is a Summer Vibes palette, but I feel like you could pull a lot of fall time looks with this as well. There's the peaches, the yellows, the like orange toned shades in here. You've even got your couple neutrals. I feel like I'd be able to use this in the fall time as well. So I feel like it's still a versatile palette. It's not necessarily just for summer. But I'm happy that I purchased this one because there was a few singles that I wanted out of this palette, but I held off because I wasn't quite sure if I was actually going to purchase this or not. It did go 50% off, so you bet I bought it. And I am happy that I did, so I'm looking forward to diving into this palette. Now, the second palette that I bought is from Give Me Glow as well, obviously. I don't know where I was going with that, but this is the Coral Nightlife palette. Now, there is the teal one. I didn't purchase that. I just purchased this one. When I got this, they had the shades inside all came as singles, so they had them packaged separately. So I put them in here. I went on to Give Me Glow's website. I looked up this palette just to see the order that they went in, and I threw them into this palette. Now, before I open this to show you, my palette is going to look different. So first off, they did have a bit of an issue with one of the shades. I think it was Rave Princess or Princess Rave or something along those lines. Unfortunately, they discontinued it, so they were not including it into the palette. So they did replace it with Jellyfish. But they gave you the option to either purchase the palette with the Jellyfish shade, or you could pick a shade that you wanted within a certain price range to replace the discontinued shade. So that's what I opted for because I really wasn't interested in that Jellyfish shade. It was just a little bit too much of a dark magenta shimmer for me, and I knew I probably wouldn't really wear it, so I didn't really want it in my collection. But I was debating between two different shimmers. So I actually reached out because this palette, if I can open this has Mango Margarita in it. This palette also had Mango Margarita in it. And as much as I had really been wanting that shade, I did not need two of it. So I reached out to Give Me Glow email address, and Brandy, who I believe is the owner, she said it would be no problem to actually switch Mango Margarita out of this palette because I have it in Summer Vibes. So I was able to choose another shade to put into this palette within a certain price range. So luckily I was able to choose the two shades that I kind of wanted to throw into here. So I'm going to show you guys, and this is what my palette is looking like. So my two shades that I chose was this one, which is Electric Mint and Pretty Little Lilac, something along those lines. I think that it actually fits this palette really well. I do love this set of 4 shades right here. I think it's super pretty, but I really like the peach tone. I think it would go with it pretty well. The yellows. So I tried to find shades that would still work with this palette as a whole because I didn't want to necessarily take these out as singles and put them into a magnetic palette. I did want to leave them into this magnetic palette and leave it as the original shades, the original palette. So this is where Mango Margarita would have been, and this is the one that would have, no, sorry, this one is the one that would have replaced that discontinued shade. So it is unfortunate that it had happened that way. I really was looking forward to that Princess Rave shade. But it is what it is. And I do like this color story. I think it's really pretty. I can see even this shade with this corally pink tone. The yellows, like I said, even these 3 right here, I think would be a really pretty look. So I'm happy with the colors that I chose. I'm happy with how this palette's looking. And I'm very excited to get into not only this one, but both of these palettes. So I also purchased a large magnetic palette. This is massive. So originally what had happened was I had purchased the Coral Nightlife palette, and then there was an Instagram store, I believe, where they said that if you wanted, you could also include your Summer Vibes palette and the Sticky Sweet palette if you wanted it into your open order. So I reached out to them and I asked them if that was possible. So I did that, but for whatever reason, I had to cancel the order and replace the order so that I was able to put them all into one, because for some reason it wasn't able to be done on their side. So what I had done was I actually switched out this palette. I originally had like the sunset vibed one. It was the orange, the yellow, the red, the terracotta colors. It was really pretty, but I felt like it was gonna be too much of that. So I decided to go with this blue green palette. I think it's super pretty. I really like how it looks in person. So I actually went ahead already and I took my singles that were not used yet in any of my projects and I threw them into here. Now, I was pretty excited for this to come because I was using the animal print Tart palette for the ones that have not been used yet, and I really wanted to kind of like throw the shades in there in a really fun way, just to kind of like give it a different vibe, give it a different look. And that's what I did here. I just kind of spread them out, threw them around, so they're obviously not like in a set order, which is totally fine with me. I'm super excited to add in a couple more that are coming. I think I'm getting that order like much later in the year though, in a couple of months. I have one order coming from Glaminatrix and another order coming from Touch of Glam. So by the time I get those, I will throw them in here. But I'm also excited for the end of the year when Panless Eyeshadows is over, because I'm going to take all of my singles and put them back into here and then start fresh. So I'm really looking forward to having everything in one place. As much as I like organizing them the way that I have been, I feel like having a majority of them in here is just going to be easier for me in the long run, or at least for now. So that was my Gimme Glow order. And they also threw in an eyeshadow brush, which I was super excited about, totally not expecting it. I don't think I have the card anymore, but they usually give you that card that has the 10% off code, and then on the back it's like a face chart, which I never really understood, but they had this brush taped to it. So I was very excited because I have been wanting to try their brushes, but I just haven't bit the bullet and done so yet. And if I can take this out, I will show you, but it is a flat shader brush, which is what I like to use to put my shimmers down on my lid. So this is what it looks like, and I'm very excited to start using it. It is a little dense, so I feel like it'll pack the shimmers on a little bit nicer instead of like the fluffier one that I'm using by Real Techniques, but I do really enjoy using that brush as well. So I feel like I'll get some really good use out of both of them, switching back and forth. So last but not least, I had ordered the Sugar Dreams palette by Drizzle, and I was super excited. Like, I don't think I really heard much about this when it was first released. I really haven't been watching a lot of like new release videos and whatnot, but I had seen swatches, and I think I had seen their restock announcement, and that's where I saw some of the swatches, and I just fell in love with a lot of them. So I told myself I was just going to bite the bullet and do it, because why not? As much as I'm not a all shimmer palette kind of girl, I do like to have mattes in there. I do feel like this is a lot of fun, and because they're more like multi-chromes and whatnot, I think it's just a lot more interesting to have a palette full of those kinds of shades instead of just your regular shimmer shades, because I feel like I wouldn't get much use on just a plain old shimmer shade palette opposed to something like this. So I bought this. I've swatched these already. This shade right here, which I think is called Shooting Star, I was so surprised because when I swatched it out, the blue in this shade overtook the swatch. Like you could barely even see the like pinkish tone. Like I can see the blue when you're kind of like moving it around. I don't know if you're really going to be able to see it, but looking at it, I can see it, and the blue just overtook the swatch, which I was kind of surprised about. But I really enjoyed how these two swatched as well, and the rest of the shades are just very pretty. So I'm really excited to get some use on this and throw this onto my lids and just create more fun and interesting looks instead of just using regular shimmers. And I'm loving that I'm kind of gearing out of just those regular things and trying to find some shades, singles, palettes that are different and interesting into my collection. And that's also why I purchased this large magnetic palette, because I do want to find some more interesting, fun shades like that I could pull in for just an all over eye look, or just one and done, or just kind of like make something a little more fun and interesting. And I want a place to put them. So I feel like this large magnetic palette is probably the best option instead of buying a bunch of minis and whatnot. But at least I still have those options for when I want to kind of create just a smaller color story. So that is my little haul. That's what I purchased, and it finally came in today. So I think what I'm going to do is, in a future video, I'm going to go through all of the makeup that I've purchased this year, which FYI is just eyeshadow palettes, so I am pretty happy with myself. I never did do a makeup collection or inventory video midway through the year. I will do one towards the end of this year, but I think I just wanted to kind of go through and just show you guys the palettes that I've been purchasing over this past year so far. But like I had said, I have those 2 orders that probably won't be in until October, maybe November, who knows at this point. I think Touch of Beauty said it would definitely take like October or so. So I might probably do it before then. I'm not really expecting to have those shades in my collection before I go ahead and do this. But again, when I do my collection videos or my inventory videos, you'll see everything at the end of the year, because I'm sure I'll have it by then, possibly minus the shades or the makeup that I end up buying on Black Friday, but that's a whole nother thing. So that is it for now. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys all later. Bye.